Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to another conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. Today, as last week, we are joined here at the ashram by Rosemary Goliath, and so she is live here at the ashram and in the studio with me, and and of course Amelia Santara, Her Holiness, is also here, and I'd like to welcome Amelia to the show. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Chrism. Hello, Rosemary. Good to be here.
Well, it's good. It's good that you are here. Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I know some of this may be boring for a lot of you, but I want to go ahead and I want to thank Amelia in person while she's on right here for allowing this radio show to exist. So thank you, Amelia, and thank you, John, and all the other O'Connors out there that may have had a hand in this.
You're very welcome, Chrism, and everybody. It's an honor, really, for us to do this, and we're delighted to be able to provide this opportunity for people to tune in, to listen to your teachings, and to receive support and help for anything that is happening with them in the context of the Kundalini awakening. It's great to hear your voice, and it's another way for people to receive support and teachings besides the writings that you do and the other ways that you help and support people. So basically, thank you.
Do you have any announcements you'd like to make at the beginning?
Yeah, I will do that. I will begin by telling people again about the seminars that we're organising. Kundalini Awakening Systems has 3 seminars happening in 2014. At this particular time, there may be more offered at a later date. I'll tell you about my 2, which are happening, that I'm organising, which are happening in March, and perhaps Rosemary would speak about hers then after that in September. The first one that is occurring is happening in New York, and I'm very excited today to be able to tell you that at last I have a venue, and it's a really nice venue. It is situated about 35 miles north of New York City, and it's a beautiful place with lovely grasslands and woodlands, and it's on the riverbank of the Hudson River. So the seminar is going to begin on Saturday the 22nd at 11 a.m. and it will close on Sunday the 23rd at 5 p.m. Now, the cost of attending the seminar will be €222, but the great news is that this will include lunch and dinner on Saturday, a single occupancy bedroom on Saturday night, and breakfast on Sunday and lunch on Sunday. So this is excellent value, I feel. The group is going to be small. There is only going to be 10 places available, and these are being allocated on a first-come basis to those who send me a deposit to confirm their interest in attending. 4 places are already gone, so we have 6 places remaining. So if anybody has an interest that's listening at the moment and they would like to attend or would like more information, I would be very happy to communicate with them on my email address. So that is kundalinimatters@gmail.com. So drop me the line and we can begin to communicate about it. The next seminar then...
Thank you.
Okay, well, I continue with the Ireland one. The next seminar is happening the following weekend in Ireland. Chrism is going to fly from New York to Dublin. And this seminar is really, I'm very excited about this as well. It's in a different venue to the last time, but even so, it is in the Newgrange area. It is, let me tell you just very briefly about it. It's going to be in a lovely stone house. And this one, again, is being restricted. We need to restrict the numbers to about 15 people. It's a beautiful house, and I won't tell you any more about it. Again, if you actually want to attend that seminar in Ireland, please do contact me on kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And even though it's in Ireland, listeners, it's actually a European seminar because flights arrive into Dublin from every city really in the United Kingdom and in Europe, and it is a very short jump to land in Dublin. So again, get in contact with me and I can let you know and I can help you with flights. So kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And Chrism, maybe later you come back to me because I'd like to give the website as well for the donations, but maybe I've talked enough for now.
Okay, well, thank you, Amelia. And I'm going to turn it over to Rosemary, and she'll make her announcements. So welcome, Rosemary.
Thank you, Chrism. Thank you. And it's great to share this information that I have about the next seminar that we know of will be September 27th, 28th. It's Saturday and a Sunday in St. Paul. It's 10 minutes from the airport.
So that's in Hawaii?
St. Paul.
Minnesota.
And we'll have more information shortly. Eileen Lauro and I are working on that together. She was brought Chrism to Minnesota 2.5 years ago, and I'm here at the ashram and a student of Chrism's because of Eileen's work. So I'm counting and trusting on her. So my email address is rosemaryg@usinternet.com. And I welcome any of your inquiries and encourage anyone with notice to put it on your calendar, and it will be a great event. Thank you, Chrism.
Oh, thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Rosemary. So we have a lot of activities coming forward starting in March and then going into September. So if people want to partake of this type of an activity, of this type of an activation/awakening, please do so. And if you've already attended a seminar, I have redesigned them, and this redesigning has really virtually changed the entire structure. And so I just want to put that out there as well. It's a very, very beautiful, a very, very moving sequence of events that'll take place in New York in early March and late March, and also in Ireland in late March, and in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota in September. So thank you both for coming on and making those announcements. Also, I'd like to thank Glenola for the website design and maintenance, Eileen Lauro for her many gifts of service, and all of you who are listening to this program in the future in the archives, and those of you who are in the chat group right now. Thank you all for tuning in. Today I'm being compelled, as some of you may know, I don't come into these conversations all the time with an exact plan in mind. And you might talk with Amelia about that. She'll ask me, well, what are we going to talk about? And I go, I don't know. And that's because the Kunalini wants to talk with you. It's not so much Chrism, the personality of Chrism. It's more the consciousness of the Kunalini. And this day, we have to really talk about the sine wave aspect of the Kunalini. When a person begins to have Kunalini phenomena, it can create levels of uncertainty within the person's experience of it. And when we're uncertain about a certain thing, then often fear is allowed to come into the equation. And I want to guide you about your fear. Your fear serves a very good purpose. It keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you from getting killed. It keeps you from getting preyed on by wild animals. Except that the wild animals in this context would be your society, wherever that is, and whatever that is for you. But also, this in the spiritual context, the many levels of predation that people feel can occur within the spiritual and energetic realms. And yes, there are some of those levels of predation, but but they are in no way able to dominate you unless you allow it, unless you choose to walk that shadow path. You may have experiences that, with entities or whatnot, or even, living beings on this planet that are guided by another source. So when these experiences happen to you, I want to encourage you not to give up your power, not to give up the seniority of your body, i.e. the ownership of your body, and not to feel that because it's a spiritual source that it's more powerful than you, because it isn't. Kundalini literally is the strongest force in our multiverse, and that goes beyond nuclear weapons, that goes beyond, exploding suns, supernovas, that goes beyond all of these things, because all of those things are part of the physical plane, and the Kundalini is of a divine source. It is the force that made the physical plane, made that body that you're wearing right now, and made this earth that we're all walking around on right now, so that we can refine ourselves to the point of having the divine flesh, having the divine body. This is the next evolutionary step for humanity, and it's very, it actually is quite comforting to know that we have this companionship and this partnership with a divine grace that is already seated within us. We don't have to go channeling. We don't have to surf the internet. We don't have to surf society. We already have that within our beings, which is capable of helping us, guiding us towards our eventual enlightenment. Okay. So if you have any questions about this at this time, the number is 347-934-0026. Do we have anybody in the chat room, Amelia?
Oh, that took a while. Sorry, Chrism. Yes, we have a few guests in the chat room, and the names I can see are Sukha and Fashji, and there's guest numbers. It's a smaller group than we usually have actually in the chat room, but welcome to everybody there. And again, feel free to type a question into Chrism. There's no questions at the moment, but if somebody has a question, please type it, and I will pass it on to Chrism, as he is not seeing you in the chat room. So I'd be happy to do that, Chrism. And I will interrupt you should somebody ask a question.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you. And so let's go ahead and continue with this. Now, we have ebbs and flows. We have peaks and valleys, as I've discussed in other conversations with you. Well, this goes along with how you're feeling on a physical level. I mean, when you're coming in towards a valley, well, maybe you will feel less energy, and maybe your ego will want to interpret this as something being wrong. Oh my gosh, I'm not in the stratosphere anymore. I'm coming down closer to in the atmosphere, to the ground level. Oh my gosh, I don't feel the same way that I've been feeling for the past 3 months. And this is normal. I want you to know, and I want you to understand that in a physical Kundalini context, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs, and just because you're going down doesn't mean that it's got to be bad. You just need to understand what is occurring. Because your energy levels may drop doesn't mean that, you're being, some vampire is feeding off of you, or some person is sucking your energy dry. You don't need to start looking outside of yourself for a source of this energy drop. What you really want to do is you want to just be thankful of the Kundalini within you. If you're able to validate the energy, the heightened energetic response that you may have been feeling for a time, if you're able to validate that and attribute that to the Kundalini, we'll also attribute the lack or the falling off of the energy also to the Kundalini. It's not like the Kundalini just got angry at you and said, oh, forget this person, I'm out of here. It's not that way at all. Okay, the Kundalini knows that it gives you a certain amount of energy for a certain amount of time, which changes for each person, depending upon their karma and their individual equation and factors of that nature. Okay, so the Kundalini gives you energy knowing that there's going to be certain levels of processing that must occur. It must occur. And this processing doesn't necessarily respond well to heightened energetic gifting to the body. It doesn't always respond well to that. Sometimes you need to be able to process through what the energy has loosened up within you. And so if you've had a death in the family, well, the Kundalini may back off of your energetic infusion simply because it knows that you're going to be processing the death in the family or the death of a pet or the death of a loved one. It knows that you'll be processing that, and you need to allow that to occur. You need to be thankful that the energy is toning itself down, giving you an opportunity to process what you need to process. And in other ways, it will turn it down, and it will begin a series of detoxifications of your emotional body. Yes, folks, I know you may not have considered this before. Your emotional body can be toxic by virtue of toxic emotions and toxic feelings and toxic interactions that you have not only with yourself but outside of yourself with other people as well. And this is, of course, why I'm always trying to help people come into the idea of forgiveness as a new lifestyle choice, tolerance as a new lifestyle choice. And I'm going to once again give you this opportunity to really look at the nature of your detoxification as a lifestyle choice that the Kundalini is offering you. So if you have that ex-wife or ex-husband that became ex just recently, say within your Kundalini experience, well, that is exactly what needed to occur. So don't go into hatred. Don't go into levels of holding a grudge. Let that person go. Let them go with your blessings. I'm not saying that you have to go up and coo and kiss their ear. I'm just suggesting that you don't need to hang on to any of the imbalances or hurtful scenarios that may have occurred within that relationship. Forgive it and move on. Forgive it and move on. Be tolerant of it and move on. Be considerate of yourself and the Kundalini and the other person and move on. Move on down into the valley or up into the peak. Wherever you happen to be within your Kundalini awakening journey, move on. Now, if you're having pain of a physical nature, say it's the lower back, and even if you have done something that is, shall we say, physically not a good idea, and that perhaps your skeletal system is falling to pieces, this, because of the pain, will give you a certain level of clarity, but also a level of need, a need to not feel that pain, a need to have this situation resolved in some way so that you're not constantly burdened with this pain. And one of the reasons I'm bringing this up is because Kundalini can do that. Kundalini can take away your pain and fix your spine. It can fix your skeletal system, any part of it. If it can move your skull plates all over the top of your head and reposition them and resuture them and move them around, well, it can fix the spine as well. Now, granted, the MDs may be telling you, well, Mr. Chrism, it looks to me like you have spinal stenosis in the L5, L4. It looks like you have deteriorating disc. It looks like you have disc protrusion. Looks like, yes, and you're a poor operating risk, which I would be because I wouldn't. Instead of believing the limitations of science, I'm going to suggest for you to believe the unlimited aspect of the Kundalini, the miraculous aspect of the Kundalini. I have received miracles time and time and time again from the Kundalini, even healing miracles. In many ways, I shouldn't even be alive right now. And I heard that, some of you thinking that, well, I feel the same way. In many ways, I shouldn't even be on this iPad talking to you on this BlogTalk radio station. But the Kunalini has decided that was to be the case. And so who am I to jerk God's hand off of my shoulder? I'm not going to brush off that hand, and I don't recommend that you do it either. And certainly not within the context of competing philosophical approaches, which is definitely what's occurring when your MD says one thing and your Kundalini says another. I'm going to suggest you follow what your Kundalini says first. Okay. Now, of course, within the laws of the land and the strictures of our society, I'm not allowed to say, don't go to your doctor. So I'll say, never, don't go to your doctor. Invite him over for dinner. Have lunch with him or her. Go play some tennis. Maybe go jogging or walking in the park. If you have a physician that's a friend, I think that physician is going to be a much clearer source of information and understanding and compassion and consideration for you as a patient than walking in, seeing some naked white guy, speaking of myself, some naked white guy in a paper gown sitting on a bed on top of a sheet of butcher paper. It's almost like you're getting wrapped up as a cutlet. But anyway, I used to work in those clinics, and so I used to have to put that paper down. So I do know of what I speak. I would rather have you, and within that context of sitting in, these physicians will take about 15 minutes with you and come to a DX or diagnosis, and there you go. And you're supposed to live your life based upon those 15 minutes. And I'm saying maybe there's more. Maybe there's other things that can come in and help your body redesign, reposition, replace, recreate a bountiful, beautiful, healthful, balanced system within your body. This glove, this body glove that you're wearing can be fixed in many, many different ways. Now, granted, if you get drawn and quartered, I'm going to suggest that maybe there's some potential not coming back from that event. Everybody, if you don't know what being drawn and quartered is, it means there's a rope tied to each hand, each ankle, and then in those different directions, the people pull your body apart. And that's what they used to practice quite a bit in Ireland and England and France and Germany and West and actually all throughout the Asian European experience. Not so much with the Native Americans out here in the West, except, of course, the Comanche tying you to a anthill. But, anyway, so the scenario is your body can be mended. It can be mended from some of the most severe traumas that is inflicted upon it. But it cannot be mended if you don't allow it to become that way, if you don't allow the possibility to exist, if you don't allow your Kundalini to work for you. Instead, you choose, whatever science has in store for you, and then, then you're at the mercy of somebody's hypothesis. Somebody's theory. Well, in theory, Chrism, should be able to, do this or that. So the scenario is I want you to at least give equal trust to your Kundalini. If your spine is falling apart, especially the lower spine areas, how much weight are you putting on the front of your body? How much of a gut are you walking around with? What level of weight loss are you refusing to give yourself so that less of a dramatic, painful experience will be given to you through your lower spine? Lower spine takes all that weight, takes the weight of your head, the weight of your thorax, the weight of your arms, the shoulders, the back, takes a lot of weight. You don't need to add 50 pounds on the front. Okay? Not speaking of anybody in particular, but I'm just, I get this a lot from people wanting to receive some healing that they're not willing to lay a good environmental foundation to receive. It's just like, when you're in the hospital, you need to have that IV maybe put in, or you need to have that shot administered. And if you're constantly pulling that IV out, or you're brushing away the nurse who, she wants to give you that shot, first of all, I don't blame you, but second of all, they're there trying to help you. They would eventually eject you from the hospital because you're not accepting treatment. Well, what do you think you're doing with the Kundalini when you don't accept that treatment? When you don't even believe that it can occur, even though there's copious evidence of the miraculous being associated with the Kundalini. Copious evidence. No, it's not scientifically proven evidence, but not everything in this world is. Science just thinks it is. But, if they don't know it, then it shouldn't be known is the attitude. And what they don't know can really help them if they just would broaden their perspective and allow the possibility of information outside of their scientific thinking. So I want you to open yourself to the miraculous from the Kundalini. It occurs daily. And yet, I work with people for years and years, right? And I have students that I've worked with for years and years. And I see them over the years becoming okay with certain phenomena. Oh, an entity. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I saw that entity. Whereas the first time they saw the entity was, an entity! I'm sorry for your ears. But now they're going, oh, yeah, there's that entity. Information is power. And in the same way as you're going down into a valley of pain, perhaps, I want you to use the information that the Kundalini gives you, and it's giving you that information right now, even as I'm speaking. You're being given information that empowers you. Never, never, never think that the Kundalini is disempowering you. It is always empowering you. And yet it knows that sometimes you need to not have so much power so that you can process the changes that have already occurred, or the changes that you want to see occur, such as a healing of the spine, a healing of the arm, a healing of the ankle, a healing of the eye, the tongue, the nose, the mouth, the neck, the heart, the lungs, the esophagus, the stomach, the gonads, the toes, the knees. All areas of the body, regardless, all areas can be healed and manipulated by the Kundalini. Okay, you just need to know what it is it wants you to do. So if you are complaining of a knee or a hip or a spine or a shoulder or a neck injury or illness, I want you to first ask your Kundalini, what do I have to do to heal this? What do I have to... And feel the answer. Don't expect words to pop into your head. It's not about hearing words. It's about feeling what that answer is. Practice your inner knowing of what Kundalini is really trying to tell you. It can tell you with words, and I'm certainly not going to say that it will never, ever tell you with words. Of course it will. But more often than not, I have seen the communication be that of a symbol. Symbols communicate more than words because symbols are multi-interpretational. And so the Kundalini will use that rose. It'll use a fully bloomed rose or a bud of a flower to communicate to you that perhaps this is something that you just need to grow through, that you need to open more, maybe become more a flower than a bud that is opening. These types of symbols are often how the Kundalini will communicate with you when you have an injury or you have an illness. Now, I will give and give and give, and I will give healing to a person. But if they're blocking that healing by virtue of ideology, philosophy, religion, fear, well, then that healing will not take place simply because they're blocking it with whatever the issue is that they have. And so I want to encourage all of you who are listening now live and listening in the archives in the future. I want to encourage you to look at where you feel you're being blocked in the energy. Okay. Some of you think that, correctly, that, well, I need to honor my shadow. I'm going to be a mean person now. Well, okay. If that's the way that you feel honoring your shadow must take, then you can also begin to take responsibility for those actions and what they're doing to you on a karmic level. And this may also have a direct effect upon how and if healing is to be given to you. However, if you're also going to look at this in a way that allows you to say, oh my gosh, I know that my shadow self exists and I respect my shadow self, and I will take the teachings of the shadow self that allows me to understand that I don't want to hurt other people, I don't want to steal from other people, I don't want to hurt myself, I don't want to hurt other people. Well, then that understanding can also allow you to open up to the healings that the Kunalini is offering you. Working your shadow self isn't so much being a dark and evil person as it is in taking the lessons evil energies offer as a way of not jumping off the cliff. Okay, you don't need to be a dark and evil person to honor the shadow. All you need to do really is to enjoy the darkness, enjoy the color black, enjoy it. Not for the superstition and the racial idiocies that are attached to it, but because it is a nurturing color. Every seed is planted in the black, and it strives to go into the light. So the dark and the light are very, very important features, and neither of them have to do with goodness or evil. They have to do with evolution. You evolve from the darkness into the light. And if you didn't have the darkness, you wouldn't be able to appreciate the light. So, we get into this non-dual, dualist philosophy, when we go into these areas. And I want you to expand yourself enough so that you can enjoy the non-dualism and the dualism at the same time. As I mentioned to a student the other day, if you put the Tao, the T-A-U, on a coin, and you have the Tao, with the two little teardrops chasing each other around one side of the coin and then on the other side of the coin as well, there's only one other side that is left on that coin for the Kundalini person to walk, and that is the edge. We walk the edge of the Tao. We are walking the edge of the coin. It's a narrow path, but it's a path that is uniquely suited for the Kundalini individual because the Tao represents oneness and duality at the same time. The coin is the oneness, and the duality are the two teardrops chasing each other. And oh my gosh, they're all on one coin. It's just like us. You know, everybody says, "Oh, we are one. We are one." You know, the new age people, we are one. You know, I tend to agree with them at least part way. And then I also like to go, we are many. We are many. We are plural. We are one and we are plural. We are dual and we are non-dual at the same time. And this kind of is leading me to this fourth and the fourth, fifth, and sixth. What is it they call this? The dimensions, or 5D. That's what they're calling it. Right. So let's talk about 4D and 5D and 6D and 7D and 8D and you know, all the other Ds that are out there that people want to feel like they can move into. And I'm just going to say that in my opinion, my humble opinion, this dimensional fabrication doesn't serve anybody well. It's an escapist philosophy. Oh, you know, 3 is not good enough for me. I have to go to 4D, 5D, 6D, 7D because my development calls for a higher level of interaction than what I can receive here on the lowly 3D field. Oh my gosh, I can't. Oh my gosh, the lowest I really go is 5D. And you know I'm kidding. I hope you all know I'm kidding. I'm trying to poke a little fun at this because, you know, it's 3D. You're on the earth. You know, you can fabricate a special condition for yourself if you want, and that's all fine. You know, that's great. But it doesn't mean that your body or your mind or you know the what it takes to be a human is going to be any different than it currently is right now. You'll still have to solve your own problems. You'll still want to be a helpful person, a considerate person, a kind person. Because you're in 6D or 7D or whatever D, you know, doesn't mean that you're going to ascend from this world. I mean, you're wearing that bodysuit, my friend. You're wearing that bodysuit, and until you're able to take that bodysuit with you, you're not going anywhere. You're stuck here by virtue of gravity, by virtue of biology, and by virtue of spirituality. You're not here in this body to escape it while it's still living. You're going to have to wait for it to die or take it with you. And if you want to take it with you, well, you're going to have to take it with you from the third degree or from the third dimension. Get to go up to the sixth dimension and then reach down and go, oh, gosh, I forgot my body. Oh, you know. I admit I'm putting a little fun in here. But I also understand that people are basing their lives on these wishful thoughts. And within a Kundalini context, you are all levels of dimension at the same time that you are this single level of dimension. And one of the best ways that you can help yourself go through this Kundalini awakening process is to ground yourself in the idea that there is no other place to go outside of yourself and your Kundalini, which is part of yourself. So instead of going out and away and escaping to one dimension or another, embrace the dimension that you're at right now, this 3D meat suit, as some people call it. For me, I call it a beautiful biological creation of God, housing a potential divine soul. Okay. Stay fixed upon what it is the Kundalini is doing with you. Do not try to escape it, even and especially if it is uncomfortable. Because the people you go to want to help you. They'll want to heal you. They'll want to validate themselves for being that great healer, this or that. They got a lot of ego involved with that. And they're going to make up what they feel like they need to make up in order to, you know, unless they have high degrees of integrity, they will say, oh, I do a six-dimensional expression, you know, and I'm just going to ask you, you know, what What does the 6 have that the 3 doesn't? Nobody you know is living in the 6th dimension. No one, not a single one. This New Age idea of all these dimensions that they're espousing that you can escape off to or develop into. Great. Show me how that works. Let me see you in the other dimension, and then we have to I'll take it all back. If you have any questions about this, and I'm sorry if I'm stepping on any toes, if you have any questions about this, please call 347-934-0026. With regard to the many new beliefs that are coming up, within the New Age system, I'm going to suggest that those of you that are involved with Kundalini are involved in a very, very ancient age system. Kundalini is only New Age because people in the West never knew it existed. And so, it's the new thing. It's the new fun thing to try, except that it's not always that fun because it's actually doing work on you, work that your ego may not want to do. And so it's not always fun. And that alone should help you feel the level of truth and work that is being offered you, this level of truth and evolution, spiritual maturation that allows you to have the divine flesh, or the flesh made divine. Okay? This is a truth. This is a truth, and you don't have to reach outside of yourself to receive it. You need to go inside yourself. And one of the best ways to go inside yourself is with meditation. And so I'm going to suggest meditation for all of you. For those who want to be healed, meditate. Follow that breath. And I know it's not the easiest thing to meditate when you're in pain. I get it. Try to find a less painful position for you to be in. Put your hands in the Gyan Mudra, which is forefinger tip to thumb tip with the 3 other fingers spread out. Bring your eyes up. Bring your tongue up. Bring your chin slightly forward. You can even do that when you're lying down. This stretches the spine. And just follow your breath through your nose. You breathe in and you feel it, you hold it, you feel it, you breathe out and you feel it. And then if you can, start doing the pranayama, the alternate nostril breathing. This will not send you into the deepest meditation, but it will get you started on what you need to do in order to achieve that deep meditation. From that deep meditation, you'll receive information, not right off the bat. Maybe you'll have to do it 20 times, 21 times. We're such an instantaneous, addicted society. I want you to take the meditation as a fact of your life and to do it every day, regardless of whether or not you receive a communication. Know that it's good for you. Know that it's helping you, and trust in that knowledge that it is helping you. Some of you are going to fall into a big, deep valley. And you're going to walk in that dark valley for a while. And it's going to scare you. And you're going to wonder, why has the Kundalini left me? Okay, and it has never left you. And it won't leave you. But it will not always allow you to feel its presence within you, because it knows, like any good parent knows, that the child needs to stand on their own sometime, someday. That child needs to learn how to walk. And it's easier to walk on a level ground than it is while you're climbing a mountain. And so we're brought into the big valley and the plateau experiences to process what we already know, and then also to surrender and to allow ourselves to release our disbelief in the miraculous that the Kundalini can give. Surrender your disbelief. Surrender your disbelief. Don't allow that to control the context of what the Kundalini is trying to give to you. Okay? You are not the gladiator. Okay? You're not the hero. And yet you are at the same time. You're the gladiator if the Kundalini wants you to be one. You're the hero if the Kundalini wants you to be one. You know, it doesn't feed the ego. It can never feed the ego. If you're doing those things, you don't want to walk around going, yep, I'm a hero. I saved those elderly people from falling on each other, so I'm a hero now. You don't do that. It's not about self-aggrandizement, as I've discussed before. It's far more about having a level of understanding that the gifts you are given, you are indeed to be giving those gifts and those services to other people who cannot help themselves or who just happen to find themselves in your presence in need of those very special gifts that you have. Okay, it's not about self-aggrandizement. It's about giving service from the divine within you to the divine that those people represent. They're basically in the process of coming into a refinement where you already are. Everyone around you in this world, and many of them in the next world, are working on refining themselves so that they can have this beautiful experience, this amazing, miraculous experience that the Kundalini brings. They're all practicing and charting and plotting, you know, if they're in the next life, well, they're plotting their next experience in the body. What karma did I develop? What karma did I come with? What do I have to do in order to fulfill enough refinement that I may have the flesh made divine and the divine flesh? What do I have to do? Everybody wants this. Everybody wants the Kundalini. But not everybody wants to do the work that's required to have and hold Kundalini in a safe and healthy way. And this is what we're teaching here. This is what my Kundalini is coming to you and giving to you here. Amelia, do we have any questions?
No, Chrism, no questions. There was a comment, all right, from Fashji who said earlier that you were speaking directly to him. I think it was around the time you were speaking about pain and back with a big LOL after it. We have a few new guests here, so I'd like to just welcome Steve and Glenys and Andrew and Julie. So,
well, welcome, Steve, Glenys, Andrew, Julie, Fashji, and all the other numbered guests that are in the chat room. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you. And Fashji, yes, I want to have that Skype with you. And I want to know, you know, what are you willing to do yourself in order to alleviate your current condition? Yeah. I see we have a phone call. Yeah, okay. We have a phone call, and Amelia is talking with that individual. So, as you mature as a soul within the body and you become the divine flesh, the flesh made divine, you're able to, your understandings of life have changed. Your understandings of the priority of life have changed. I would like to suggest to all of you that are potential Kundalini candidates and who are currently within the Kundalini expression, that you need to really let go of the philosophies that have served you so well. If you've been a devout person within your belief system, say a priest or a nun or a mullah or a master, whatever the title is, I want you to realize that now that you have the Kundalini coming through you, you need to let go of that. The religions only have part of the story. Now, if you read, say, the King James Version in the Bible, you can actually discern a Kundalini awakening format within the King James Version. Maybe someday, if enough people are interested, we can have a conversation about that. But currently, we have a question. Yes, Amelia?
Hello, Chrism. It's a question from Fashti. I'm putting him through to you.
Putting him through. I feel like I'm in the 1940s, and Amelia's the phone operator. Welcome, Fashti.
Right. That's why they call it tip and ring, because you put one wire in the tip and one in the ring spot, and that's how you'd be able to talk. It's interesting you'd say that.
No.
It's so good to hear your voice. And of course I got your message, and interesting how you knew that I was there but not showing myself. And that's for us when we get a chance to talk. But you said something that really sparked an aha moment for me, and I just wanted to mention it. A lot of times when we get to certain points in this developmental structure here called the Kunalini, we don't want to, for lack of better terms, go back. In other words, once the marriage has taken place, and there's an obvious need in the body to allow this new version of the Kunalini to come back in and do the healing, and it was just when I don't know what you said. I really have no idea, because I was listening, from a deeper state of mind or state of consciousness to what you were saying, and it occurred to me that the marriage is going to happen eventually, but we have, as long as we operate in this three-dimensional world, as you were mentioning, the different dimensional teachings that are coming out in the New Age sector, we operate with the entire organism. And so I guess ego found a way to get in and say, no. Now that you have this, that's all supposed to have been taken care of, and now you're at the whims and whatever decisions of your lower self or your karmic self or what have you. Am I making sense to you?
Well, the thing that I'm getting from what you're saying is that people use the ego as a way of charting their course through through these dimensions that a lot of the New Age sector is talking about, and they're not doing the ego work. They're using the ego as a way of thinking that they have this control over their destiny, which in fact they don't. But the ego and the Maya and the illusion that these terms represent allow the person to think that they do. The real dimensional, there are. So if you, as you know, I mean, you're a person that did a lot of out of body work, right?
Right.
So you know that when you go out of body, there are different areas that you can visit, right?
Exactly. Or states, realms,
right,
whatever.
Right, realms, states. And a lot of these realms and states are what people are going to call dimensions. Okay? So they will call the out-of-body dimension a certain realm or state. They'll call it 3D or maybe not 3D. They'll call it 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever D they, whatever name they want to give it. And basically it does represent a different conscious experience of the multiverse. So I get that. I get that. But that doesn't mean that you abandon the body that is housing the soul, that is having that out-of-body experience.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Yes.
Yeah, you don't get to just say, "Oh, that was nice having that body now, but now I'm without a body. I'm out of body." You know, I I don't have those responsibilities anymore, because I'll tell you what, as soon as you have to go to the bathroom, your body's going to be, or your soul's going to be slammed back into that 3D body, you know, or you're going to wet the bed.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I mean, it's ludicrous sometimes. Go ahead.
Yes, I agree totally. I in addition was alluding to the fact that I had spoken to the Kunalini within and the Shakti, and it said, let me go down and see what's happening. And I said, no, you know, I might lose. I might lose something if you go down into the lower chakras. When you said ludicrous, it was right. Let me just go and take a look, said Shakti, see what can be done. And I said, okay, but with reservation. And that was the point that I was trying to get to earlier, that something you said, allow this to happen, because this is the divine within you, or within all of us, speaking to you. It's a gentle voice. It's not forceful. In my case, it sort of allows me to you know, have enough rope to hang myself, for lack of better words. So I got on to thank you for that, because it gave me a lot of insight. But
well, let's look at what she was saying to you. So, now, of course, you know, there is no area of your body that the Shakti doesn't already know everything there is to know about that area.
Right.
The only thing that she was doing is she was being gentle to your ego, and she was suggesting, oh, well, since you see me in such a limited form, let me come to you in a limited way, and I will come to you and I will ask your ego's permission if I may go down to that special area that I already know everything about. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, Vashti, my beautiful. You see my point?
Absolutely. I mean, it's become so clear just listening tonight, and you know, I don't want to monopolize your time. I appreciate you receiving my telephone call, and of course, I will turn myself on in green in Skype.
Yeah, I want to have the Skype session with you, and I do want to see that green light on. I have to say that, and this is to everyone, I have this little Samsung Verizon internet box thing that I'm plugging into. And this is where I'm doing all my Skypes from, and even this radio show from right now. And as long as that thing keeps working, then we're all good. But it's been breaking down lately, and I've talked to my dear friend Ed, who's purchased this for me, and it's ready for an upgrade. But until I can upgrade it, folks, we may have technical difficulties. We're not having them now. I'm very happy that we're not having them. We may have them in the future, because I'm having to tear it apart with my pocket knife just to get it going, if that tells you anything.
Mm.
And yeah,
I'm going to get off.
He says something quite funny. He says, yeah, gosh, you know, the fact that two people that have Kundalini are having electrical problems with their devices, oh my gosh, what a great surprise.
Okay, I'm going to get off and allow someone else to call in if they need to. Thank you. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Do as Vashti has done. Talk to your Kundalini. Give her an opening to expose you to the information that she has waiting for. She already knows pretty much everything about you. She knows your karma. The Kundalini knows what you have to work on. The Kundalini knows what you have to do in order to receive more of the Kundalini within yourself. Bashi said a very, very special word, and I want to repeat it, and I want to thank Bashi for saying it. Allow it to occur. Step aside. Let your ego step aside and allow the Kundalini to communicate with you. You can even preface it by saying, I open myself to you, my Kundalini, to tell me what you feel I need to know. And just say that, make that a mantra. I open myself to you, my Kundalini, to tell me what it is I need to know. And then actually be open to it. Open to that thought, to that idea of the Kundalini communicating directly with you. You saw, or you just were given an example by Fasci of how the Kundalini realizes that you're asking from the level of your ego. And this isn't wrong. This is not a wrong thing. This is the way we've learned how to communicate. So let the communication take place. Allow it to take place. And then when you have that communication intact, follow the advice that it gives you, even if it is dramatic to your life, to your current existence. You know, I'm going to use Rosemary because she's right here. So I'm technically not talking behind her back. I'm talking on her side here. I'm talking to her left side, her Shakti side. And in this, my computer just turned off, and I had to turn it back on, and that kind of took me off of my point. But what I would say to Rosemary is to look at your past and embrace it. Look at your present and embrace it. Now let the Kundalini come into your present tense and embrace it. And if the Kundalini tells you, my dear Rosemary, that even though you have lived for the last over 25 years in Minnesota, am I right? That if the Kundalini says, Rosemary, you're now to move to Tucson, Arizona, and you will do this year, don't hesitate. Start getting your things together, Rosemary, or whoever I'm talking to. This could be Amelia, this could be Fasci, this could be Julie, this could be any of you who are listening. You jump on that advice, especially if it's clear. If it's so clear that it's saying, Rosemary, you need to move to Tucson, well, then you start looking for a place in Tucson. The Kundalini doesn't lie to you. It has a lot of dignity. It has a lot of truth. Kundalini is an honest source. It is not something that is trying to beguile you or to take energy away from you. Kundalini never takes energy away from you. And I know a lot of you will be going, well, wait a minute there, Mr. Chrism. You said that on the downside into the valley, it may pull back. Well, it may pull back, but it's not removing itself from you. Okay, it's allowing you to process. So it's like a tide. The tide comes in and it's high tide, and the shore is receiving all this information in the form of nutrients and life forms and life interaction. And then the tide gently and irrevocably recedes, and that area of the high tide is now left high and dry. And there is seemingly no nourishment and no communication and no information. And basically what it is it's processing, allowing you to process the energy that has already been given. The crabs and the little bugs and the little sand dabs are still there where the high tide mark is, they're just underground now. They're not so obvious now. They're not swimming around so much, but they're still there. The power is still there. The energy, it is still there. It's just not being expressed in the same way as when the tide is coming in. Now the tide is going out. And gently and surely, the energy is being decreased in its amplitude. Doesn't mean it's being taken away. It's like light on a dimmer switch. Okay, in the daytime, when you have that light on or you need that light, you got maybe some lights coming in through the windows. Well, you need to have it on high because it's got to compete with all the light rays coming in through the windows. Well, at nighttime, there are no light rays. And so you can dim that light down. And that's exactly what is done to a human body as that body goes through the peaks and valleys, the sine wave of the Kundalini as it comes into the person's expression. So know this and understand this and accept this and allow this to occur. Allow this to occur. Make whatever changes that the Kundalini suggests to you in your body. If you need to lose a gut, then lose the gut. If you need to lose an ass, then lose an ass. Just now, okay, let me back up a little bit. Don't lose it all, just a portion of it. You know, begin to modulate how much you eat. And look at what it is you're eating. Are you eating a lot of high fructose corn syrup? Completely. Are you eating a lot of GMO food? Well, unless that's the only food that you can get where you are, then stop that as much as you can. My iPad keeps clicking off here. Make the adjustment in your diet. Make the adjustment in your level of exercise. So if a person has a bad knee or a sore back or something like that, you can still do exercises that do not put a lot of weight or stress or strain on that seemingly injured part. You can go swimming, or you can do aqua aerobics, or you can do a lot of things that will take some of the gravitational pressure off of that injured area. And one of the things that I've noticed with Europeans and Americans at this time in our life is this great love affair we have with food. You know, we have this expectation of, we got to eat a breakfast and a lunch and a dinner. We got to have those 3 square meals a day or life just isn't right. And I'm saying, no. First of all, we don't want to overeat. Second of all, we don't want to overeat really bad for us type of food. Third of all, we need to take out those forms of nutrition that, even though your government or the company that controls your government, as in the United States, says, this is good for you, don't you believe it right off the bat. You start taking control of what you put into your body. Do not depend on RDAs or recommended daily allowances. Do not depend on those. Don't listen to those. Don't go, the government likes it, so it must be good. You know, these current governments in this world right now, they don't necessarily have your highest health or highest ideals in mind. A bureaucracy, when it gets big enough and strong enough and powerful enough, begins to live for itself rather than the people that put it in place and the people that are allowing it to stay in place and in power. So look at your health and begin to take responsibility for what has caused it and for what the cure to that dis-ease may be for you. You don't necessarily need, to look around and see what everybody else is doing, because you have Kundalini and not everybody else does. And that changes your equation substantially. Okay. Kundalini changes the whole equation. If you have Kundalini, then you no longer really, can relate to what everybody else around you is doing. Some of you will feel this already and know this intuitively. Some of you who are coming into this or exploring this have yet to understand experientially what it is I'm talking about. Get a drink of my tea here. I'm drinking Hildegard tea, by the way. This was put out, this tea recipe is put out over 1,200 years ago by Saint Hildegard in the 10th century, who was Kundalini active. And here, her energy is still alive in this tea. And in the music that she wrote as well. If you want to look at Saint Hildegard or Hildegard von Bingam, B-I-N-G-A-M, a German abbess from the 10th century, okay, who had full-on Kundalini, without a doubt, because her Kundalini lives on today to help us, as yours will live on to help those who follow you. I'm going to bring Rosemary on right now, and Rosemary is going to give me her feelings about what it is we've been talking about.
Thank you, Chrism. This last part, particularly, I see it applying to myself, and you can verify this in what you see in my eating habits. But also, when you said about stepping aside from what is the standard or accepted in eating or whatever, it occurred to me that I think I have lived that individualistic style of living and have not taken on, particularly with food. I've been very strict with myself about what I would eat and what I'm going to put into my mouth or pay for. And what struck me is, if you're on that end, you have something to look at too. So it's for me to still look at that with you and your guidance. I appreciate that we will be doing, and I can expand it and grow into incorporating more.
Well, yeah. So what she's alluding to is the fact that I've, while she's out here at the ashram, I have kind of changed her diet. We go into the market, and she tells me what she likes, and I am given to provide for her certain information with regards to what my Kundalini sees as a best way for her to begin a stronger communication with her own Kundalini. This has been given while she's been here, and I want Rosemary to speak of some of the phenomena that she has had occur for her while she has been here.
Something came in at night in a dream it was a experience of presence, a vivid experience in the middle of the night. And it was a tall person, a gentleman, and darker skin, and coming toward me with something in his arms. And it turned out it was, as he got closer and closer, a coiled snake. And my first thoughts was it was fear. And then in a little bit of a transition time, I realized that it was the Kundalini and that he was bringing that to me. And I got peaceful with it, and then they were gone. But it was delightful to even experience that in myself and to recognize it. One of them.
Yeah, very nice. Rosemary's on a very set type of practice here, which any of you who visit the ashram will experience an individualized practice for you to do as much as you possibly can do while you're here, and while we're traveling around and you're visiting all these different Kundalini areas here, like the Kundalini Forest or Mount Shasta or Yosemite or Grand Canyon or Yogananda's ashrams down there in Los Angeles. I mean, we try to visit as many of these areas as we can. So yeah. And another thing that I'm going to go ahead and say for Rosemary is that she experienced heat in her body, heat that was not associated with any kind of an external source, but definitely associated with an internal source. And she had not felt that before, at least not to that degree. And I get a lot of the people that are approaching the Kundalini, and some folks have a temperature, an inner body temperature that is too cold for them or too cold for their ego. And, they're constantly wanting the heat. Where's the heat, I hear? Well, Chrism, you could give me the heat if you want. I get a lot of that when people are talking with me about the things that they would like to have the Kundalini do for them. Rosemary's one of those people. Before she had the heat, well, she was the one saying, well, you can bring some heat. And I just kind of laughed at that because that's really not my job. My job is to help you bring your own heat. Have you open yourself to your Kundalini, and from that opening, allow the heat to come, the sacred male heat to come. And this is also what I want to suggest to all of you who are listening. You can want as much phenomena as you can bring, but unless you're willing to allow it to occur, unless you're willing to set aside your disbelief that it can occur, and it's not going to occur. It's not going to crash through this huge barrier of blockage that your ego is placing in front of it. It's not going to just sit there and crash against it like an ocean, unless there's a karmic prerogative for that to occur. But typically there isn't. Typically the Kundalini will just go, okay, we just got to wait for our child to manifest enough trust and enough allowance and enough practice, belief, to occur before this heat can be given. But when it does come, it's very noticeable and it's very gentle. For the most part, not everybody's the same way. Sometimes it's a little more robust in some people. But to use Rosemary's example, she traveled all the way from Minnesota to come and spend the winter here at the ashram. And let me tell you, the winter here at the ashram, geez Louise, it's almost 80 degrees in the middle of January. In a way, she is doing exactly that because I know that it's sub-zero weather in Minnesota right now, as it should be. Here on the West Coast, we're having the aberrant weather, not Minnesota. It should be cold right now. It's winter time. And so Rosemary decided to fly from Minnesota to California, and I picked her up at the airport, and here she is. And she's making the move. She's going through the teachings. She's receiving the teachings. And those teachings are receiving her. And by receiving her, that Kundalini snake was laid upon her bed. She didn't tell you that part. It was set down upon her bed where she sleeps. Okay. So this is a very, very strong communication from her Kundalini to herself. But she had to reach an area of practice, of allowing, of trust, of surrender before that could occur. And I'm going to suggest that it will take some of you a very similar level of allowing before your phenomena will occur for you. Rosemary's only been doing this practice since that seminar in Minnesota. And then, it took a little while for us to do any kind of a private student situation with her. But that was done, and And here she is, and she's doing very, very well. Rosemary, may I give them your age?
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, her age, her ego said no, but the rest of her said yes, is 73. And, is that right?
That's right.
73. There is no age limit for Kunalini. I don't care if you're 83 or 93 or 103, there is no age limit for you to begin to embrace the divine within. There is no age limit for that. As long as you're still in the body, there is no age limit for you. Any age can embrace the Kundalini. I've had students, children who are having this phenomena occur, and some children who are encouraging this phenomena to occur. The kids that are born with an understanding of Kundalini. They may not know what to call it. They may only have the phenomena, but they're coming into this world right now. Kids that are now 13, 14, 15 years old. They're watching the TV and they're seeing all this stuff like let me think. Many of the movies are putting out entertainments right now that have to do with good versus evil, which is a very standard production. But it's the kids that are now having special gifts in which they can do battle with the evil forces. Okay. Well, a lot of these kids, from Harry Potter on up to any of the other movies, like the superhero movies that you're getting out a lot these days, the kids are embracing the powers. Some of the kids are also embracing what it is you have to do to have that power. And in this case, and in this context, it's about the Kundalini. The Kundalini brings one the power to do this. Well, in order to get the Kundalini, you have to start accepting the karma that you have. And you have to start balancing that karma. And you have to start balancing your ego. And you have to start all of these really positive teachings. So this is good. This is good. Now you're going to hear dogs barking and whatnot in the background, but please don't let it bother you. We have a bit of an animal rescue center here, so don't let Max, who is barking right now, disturb your peace. If you have a question and you'd like to call, we have 37 minutes left. The number is 347-934-0026. And I'm going to ask Amelia Centara to come online there in Ireland. And it's about, I think it's past midnight in Ireland. So thank you, Amelia, for staying up so late.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm a late person anyway, a late night person. I was very interested in, I think this is actually a lovely program. I'm really enjoying it, Chrism, and listening to you. And a lot of what you said really resonated. There was a few things. The thing that you said about, the Kundalini being an honest source and how it never takes energy, that really resonated with me. And of course, it did tell me to move 2 years ago in the way that you described,
So let's look at that right now, okay? Because you were living in a city called Cork in Ireland, which, just that name would, well, never mind. So, and the Kundalini. I know how dangerous the people from Cork can be, so I'm going to get out while I'm still alive. The Kundalini came to you and told you in what way? How did that occur for you?
Well, we had John is from Kerry, and we had fixed up his original house, and it was a bit of a holiday home. And then I started to have dreams about living there. And then during meditation, I began to be, the Kundalini very directly said to me, without words, I was to move. And I wasn't happy because my two children have special needs with regard to education, and they were in an excellent school. And I went, no, I'm obviously misunderstanding this. So, no, this couldn't be it. And I very clearly got back, it will be good for the children. And I went, it couldn't be better for the children. I mean, I had great difficulty, but what you said about an honest source, I knew that this was coming from Kundalini. And so I started to tell my husband about it. And John is retired, so his work scenario is different to the way it was a couple of years ago. But John knows about my Kundalini and has had experience of things happening in our family and with healing and different things. And so he actually trusts my Kundalini as well when things like this occur. And I began to realize that this is really what we were to do. And John was open. We allowed it. We both allowed it. And we actually took the children out of school and we moved down. Now, it's only 2.5 hours away, but it was a complete lifestyle change. Left all my friends. I had a great social life, blah, blah, blah. And we moved down. And it is amazing, Chrism, and you know yourself because I'm your student, what has occurred for me since I moved down. I wasn't long here when through meditation and other ways I was told that I was to become a holistic massage therapist, that I became more involved in healing. I discovered that I was living right next door to woods, and the Kundalini took me out there and expanded my environment and the teachings and lessons for me in so many ways that could not have happened had I stayed in Cork. So, God,
well,
I did write a book.
Let's talk about one of those ways. And I'm going to go ahead and expose this part of your practice, okay?
Yes.
Okay. The Tibetans have an ancient ceremony that they call a chod. That's spelled C-H-O with an umlaut and D. So the chud or chod. And what this does is this calls for a prospective lama or monk to be tied out into the wilderness and to call upon all the evil and terrible spirits to come and rip them to pieces. And they're left out there for a long time. And sometimes in the mountains of Tibet, the Lama is indeed ripped to pieces. This is what was given for me to give to Amelia to do in her forest. And she did it. And she did it very successfully. And how was that for you, Amelia?
That was life-changing for me, Chrism, in every way. Because I had to face many things. You know, I mean, you spoke earlier about fear and things like that, and I came to understand things about fear being a choice. I came to understand, you know, to allow myself to do what I was being given to do from the Kundalini and from the Kundalini to you, my teacher, and the actual experience of doing it. You know, I'm on the spot now, and I can't put into words. But
it's
please
okay.
feel free to say anything.
It's a phenomenal experience for sure. Yeah.
It is, and it went on for a long time, and I can't think about it because.
Okay. Oh, no, that's fine. That's you know, enough has been said, and so these are the levels of allowing that I'm talking about. Where this is an extreme example of that, but when the Kunalini says move, well, guess what you should do? You should move. And to do as John and Amelia and their children did. They had, and the Kundalini's not saying move and live in a refrigerator box with your family. It's not saying that. It's saying move one house here to another house over there. You're out of the rain. You're out of the wind. You're in a natural and a cleaner environment than you are inside of a city like Cork or Dublin. I mean, there are so many healthful positives in what the Kundalini asked Amelia to do, is I can't even enumerate them. And it's the same with Rosemary. Rosemary's given. She had no idea that she would be spending her winter this way for the whole time because she is a private student of mine. I was saying that, well, Rosemary, you're going to need to be open to a change of address. If the Kundalini says you need to move, well, then guess what? I'm going to have you move. And she thought about it for a little bit, and she said, well, okay, I'm okay with that. Is that right, Rosemary?
You said, come and try it for 3 months.
Well, actually, there was a lot more being said before that. Yeah. She was resisting. She was going, oh, my gosh, I've got things that I have to do here, and I would have to rent out my house and my apartment, and I'd have to pay for rent that I'm not there, all of these things, right? Terrible, terrible, horrible, huge issues and blockages getting in the way of her actually obeying her Kundalini. And I said, that's when I said, well, why don't you just come out for a few months and see how it feels? And that she readily agreed to, and here we are. Now, once again, I want you to know that this ashram is a very small place, but this is the only Kundalini ashram that I know of that actually deals with the actual awakening and maintenance and nutrition and living with the Kundalini awakened in the human body. And with that understanding, I want you to really know that this is open for you too, for those of you listening. For those of you listening that want to come and visit the ashram, then I would ask that you begin to practice the Kundalini awakening safety protocols. And these safeties are listed if you go to Kundalini Awakening Systems, the1.com, and you go to the left-hand menu item. You'll see the left-hand buttons. You'll see the safeties, and click on those safeties, and then begin to live your life with those safeties. That means all the time you have your tongue up behind your upper front teeth if you're not talking, kissing, coughing, sneezing, eating, or doing anything other than just breathing with your mouth. I want you to have your tongue behind the upper front teeth. I want your fingers to be in the Gyan Mudra. If you're meditating, I want you to tilt that chin slightly towards the chest. Not all the way towards the chest like some people are doing. Slightly towards the chest. Just a gentle inclination, okay? And I want you to be forgiving and tolerant and considerate and kind and compassionate. Okay, all of these things, honest, truthful, with dignity. All of these things you get to be while you're here at this ashram. And the Kundalini is alive and well at this ashram. I kid you not. If you're not activated and you come here, there's a very good chance that you're going to get activated if you're able to practice those Kundalini awakening safeties. That means I want you to do the Tibetans once, if not twice a day. That means I want you to do the recapitulation where you write down with a pencil a problem that you've had. Well, Mr. Joe Johnson, he looked at me badly, and I scowled back at him just to let him know that, I can do it too. So you need to forgive yourself and forgive Joe Johnson for looking at you that funny way. And that goes to your spouses, that goes to your kids, that goes to your friends, that goes with perfect strangers that you've had some sort of interaction in public or at work or in whatever scenario it comes to you. I want you, and I want you to practice those safeties because that's beginning the refinement process within you so that when you do come here and you're continuing to practice the safeties, well, then your reception of what is given here is far greater than it would be otherwise. Okay, all of you are welcome here at this ashram. You just give me a heads up, and we'll maintain the space for you. Okay, you can stay here for 3 days. You can stay here for 3 months, like Rosemary's doing. Okay, actually, she's staying closer to 2.5 months. But anyway, that is welcome to any of you, all of you. If you just get out here, I don't care if you're walking, driving, riding a horse, or flying an airplane. The horse, you'll have to get a stable for, but all the other ways you can do, you're welcome to come. You're welcome to come. And if it's too cold where you are right now, well, it certainly isn't that way here. But I do predict a lot of rain happening in February, so we'll see how that goes. Now, I've got 24 minutes left. The number is 347-934-0026. If there's anybody who has a question in the archives or in the chat room, if there's a question out there, Amelia, feel free to interrupt me.
I'll interrupt you.
Okay.
I'm interrupting you. Okay, so Julie has a comment made, and I'll read it. It says, I had the heat return recently at times over the past year. It has been quite a while, over 10 years since I've had any heat phenomena. Before, when it would happen, it actually made me sick and I would pass out.
Well, first of all, Julie, hello. You're a wonderful, wonderful person, and I know we've had conversations before. Lately, you have also done some very, very good work with surrendering and allowing your Kundalini to come through, and I think that the heat is just another manifestation of you opening more towards your Kundalini. And maybe this happened on a subconscious level as well, because even just within the past few months, you and I have come into a closer student-teacher relationship, and levels of devotion, levels of allowing the Kundalini in you to take a greater position in your life is occurring. And so, of course, that heat should be coming back. And it's really, I think, your statement there it underscores what I think I have said before in the past. The Kundalini will never, ever leave you. Once that genie is out of the bottle, it's out of the bottle. But that doesn't mean you're being constantly electrocuted. The Kundalini heat will come and it will go. And when it's time for its reemergence within you, well, then that reemergence will come. And it will be there. And if it's time, if you're a beginning student and it's time for you to have that heat come to you at all, well, then it will come. Now because Rosemary is here, she has basically been following this Kundalini teaching since she came to the seminar. Am I right?
Yes.
This is her first experience with the heat. Am I right? Mm-hmm. And so this is a first time, and it's coming in gently. It's not coming in 24/7. It's coming in just a little bit here, just a little bit there. And with you, Julie, I have a feeling that is also occurring. We are sine waves within sine waves. We are peaks and valleys within peaks and valleys. And I think for you, you're coming up to a peak. And the peak is your allowing and surrendering and engaging the Kundalini within you. Accepting a teacher is a huge deal there. And I am honored that you have accepted me as a private teacher for you and your Kundalini awakening experience. And we should probably Skype again. But I'll let you decide how that would be for you. But I think your process is going very well. And I read your posts there on Facebook, and I read what's happening with you, and I'm very happy with how things are going. Not only with you, but with your son and with your spouse as well. What a cool, wonderful Kundalini family you have. And thank you for making this comment for me to respond to, and I look forward to reading more of your process as time goes by.
She says, actually, Chrism, it didn't leave. I've been frozen for these last 10 years, laughing out loud. And then she said, it's a little at a time. And around Skype, she's available anytime, and so that will occur. She says, thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you for your question. Are there others, Amelia?
No, Chrism. No, there are not.
Well, then I am going to call it right now. Then it's 19:19, and
well, what are you gone?
I'm not. What?
Oh, you went blank there. You went offline or something. Can I give the information then about the donations, please?
Yes.
I'd like to tell people about where they can go if they would like to make a donation to support the work that Chrism does here with BlogTalk Radio. Actually, it's not so much with BlogTalk Radio, but with the work that he does with Kundalini Awakening Systems and with all the people that access his teaching that he gives his time to. The address is www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, and there's a donate button on the top right-hand corner. And do you know, Chrism, I actually have it open in front of me, and can I just read out what's on top here, one of the posts that you've done?
Sure.
It says, look no further than your own self to realize that you are the person that was given the life choices to work towards a finer and more evolved expression of humanity. Look no further than yourself to realize that this awakening is part of your divine plan. Look no further than the Kundalini to introduce yourself to the overt, aware, experiential, divine consciousness that is leading you, teaching you, sometimes gently, sometimes abruptly, into levels of awareness that in many ways cannot be described through mundane expression. Chrism. That's beautiful. Anyway, so the button is there, the donate button, and if you wish to donate to the work that Chrism does, you will find it at www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com. Thanks, Chrism.
Well, thank you, Amelia, and everybody. If you want to partake of any of the videos that we produced, go to chrism.kundalini on YouTube, and I'm looking to also expand all those videos on over to Vimeo or any of the other video sharing sites that we can find. And I just want to thank everyone for listening to this broadcast. I would like to thank Rosemary for being here at the ashram. I would like to thank Amelia Santara for being there in Ireland and shortly to be here at the ashram. I would like to thank everybody who is signing up for the seminar in New York, who is signing up for the seminar in Minneapolis, who is signing up for the seminar in Ireland. And I look forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you.
And may I give the address again, Chrism, for the seminars, please? Do write to me, Amelia Santara, at kundalinimatters@gmail.com. And I would encourage you, if while you're listening to this broadcast, listen to the Kundalini. If you're being given a hint, if you're being given a communication that it would be good for you to meet with Chrism, to meet with other Kundalini people, then listen to that voice, listen to that communication, and allow it and make it happen. And maybe I'll see you in New York or Ireland, or perhaps Rosemary and Chrism will see you in September. But please do pay attention. And again, if you want to contact me, it's kundalinimatters@gmail.com. Thank you and goodbye from me.
Wait. Don't go goodbye yet. Well, here's Rosemary. I'm going to have Rosemary give her address out.
Yes, it's Rosemary G at usinternet.com.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Fashti, and everybody who called, Julie. Thank you, everyone who has listened for the past 2 hours and who is listening in the future. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.